One asked if I read it all. I'm a terrorist. Whatever be the wrong tongue. I don't give a shit what people think about me. Never have. The fact of the matter is, you want to compare the Trump administration and Biden administration, let's do that. Under the Biden administration, what they call the alien administration, a record number of aliens died in Italy during World War 4,000. Historic record of migrants dying. 250,000 Americans died from fentanyl coming across the world war. Sex trafficking was an all-time high. Cartels made more money than they've ever made. They made record amount of money smuggling aliens. They made record amount of money trafficking women and children. They made a record amount of money in drug smuggling. Biden administration broke all kinds of records. Americans died at record numbers. Aliens died at record numbers. There's nothing to be made by that administration. When you make a promise to the whole world, you cross the border illegally, don't worry about it. We're releasing in 24 hours. We'll fly you to the city of your choice. We'll give you a free airline ticket. We'll give you a free hotel room. We'll give you 2 meals a day. We'll give you free medical care. And after about 90, 120 days, we'll give you work authorization, which is really easy to can. You're not really escaping fear and persecution. When you make those types of promises, the whole world's going to come, including the most vulnerable. And that's why so many died. And that's why the border is wide open to fentanyl. On any given day, up to 70% of the agents go behind. 70%. And they wonder why that a massive immigration crisis on the southern border. Now, again, the most secure border in this nation lies remain safe every day. We got a little bit more work to do. We got to build some more wall. We got some more border police put in. We got a little bit more work to do. I looked at the numbers this morning coming in. In the last several months, we went from 10,000, 12,000, sometimes 15,000 illegal aliens coming on board every day. Yesterday, 162. All arrested, nobody released. All returned. Yeah, 15,000 to 162. And now just yesterday, I've seen numbers as low as 88. Across 2,000 miles of border. That is one hell of a secure border. Zero release. No one was released. That's a secure border. I looked at the amount of gotaways. Under Joe Biden, averaged 1,800 gotaways, known gotaways. They were captured on video, drone traffic, or sensor traffic. They got in because 70% of agents were busy processing the humanitarian crisis. So 1,800 a day average gotaways. How many yesterday? 16. 16 from 1,800. The most secure border in the history of the nation, and the data proves it, whether they like it or not, that's just a simple fact. And that's because we got the greatest president in my lifetime sitting at the White House. ICE. So that's one thing. That's the second thing is internal enforcement operations. I looked at the numbers yesterday. Total removals between ICE and CBP are right around 380,000. We'll give them around 400,000 in a year. That's not bad considering that's just since January 21st. We know that the first 4 months of the fiscal year, Joe Biden controlled, he wasn't doing squat. So the numbers you look for 7 months, that's pretty good now. ICE is arresting, a couple thousand people again after 3. That's a good number. But now, with 10,000 more agents coming on board, just wait and see what happens this coming year. I see, the media likes to attack ICE, saying, well, most of the people that are arrested aren't criminals. Bullshit. I look at the numbers every day. 70% of everybody ICE arrested are criminal. But some of them just think they're not criminal enough. It's just a DUI. 10,000 people a year are dying in DUI. I think it's a significant public safety issue. With 70%, we classify as criminals. Who are the other 30%? Gang members that don't have a criminal history? National security threats. Most of them don't have a criminal history, but they're laying low to do their dirty deed. We've arrested thousands of non-suspected terrorists. Who's arrestable? Final orders. people who had due process at great taxpayer expense and were ordered removed by a federal judge but didn't leave. We have to find them and arrest them. Because the nation we're not going to send to the whole world is that it's okay to cross the border illegally. It's a crime, but don't worry about it. Show up in court or don't show up in court and get a final order removal. Don't worry about it. We're not looking for it. And that's what Secretary Mayorkas told us last 4 years. You can't arrest somebody simply being here legally. You got to be convicted of serious crime before you can target and move him for arrest. We're not doing that. We're telling agents to enforce law that Congress enacted to uphold the open book and enforce immigration law. So when you have a final order, you've got taxpayers spent billions of dollars in the due process, you're going home. And we find you, we're going to arrest you, you're going home. Right now, we have about 600,000 illegal aliens with criminal histories walking the streets of this nation. That continues to be our priority. We got 1.4 million illegal aliens with a final order removal. We're looking for you too. Well, let me make it clear. We are prioritizing public safety threats and national security threats, and the data proves it. But if you're in the country legally, you're not off the table. If we find you, you're leaving. Sanctuary City wants to push back on the Trump administration. They've lost their minds. Sanctuary Cities are sanctuaries for criminals. I'm sick of the garbage I hear from these politicians saying, well, we're a welcoming community. We're a sanctuary city because we want victims and witnesses of crime that are in the country to feel welcome to come to this police and make those reports as victims and witnesses without fear that we're working with ICE. That is just a bunch of crap. Because victims and witnesses of crime don't want the bad guy back in the neighborhood either.
At the National Conservative Conference in Washington, D.C., border czar Tom Homan brushed off criticism about the Trump administration's border policies, passionately defending the former president's approach to immigration and border security. According to Homan, President Trump's border policies saved thousands of lives, pointing out the dangers of sex trafficking, drug smuggling, and other illegal activities that were prevented by strict border controls. Homan highlighted the importance of the border wall, arguing that it played a critical role in saving lives by restricting illegal crossings. He claimed that the wall prevented women and children from crossing into dangerous areas controlled by human traffickers, drug cartels, and other criminal groups. While critics of the border wall often downplay its effectiveness, Homan asserted that the security it provided was a life-saving measure that went unappreciated by much of the media. The speaker contrasted the Trump administration's achievements with what he saw as the failures of the Biden administration, which, according to him, resulted in record numbers of deaths and illegal activities at the border. Under Biden's leadership, Homan argued, there was a surge in deaths of illegal immigrants making the dangerous journey to the U.S., as well as a rise in fentanyl overdoses and human trafficking. He criticized the Biden administration's policies, which he claimed sent the wrong message to the world by promising safe passage to anyone who could cross the border, including the most vulnerable populations. This open-door policy, Homan suggested, led to an increase in illegal crossings and created unsafe conditions for both immigrants and American citizens. He contended that these policies not only made the border less secure but also endangered those they aimed to help, such as women and children fleeing violence. In defense of the Trump administration's border security, Homan boasted of the significant decline in illegal crossings during Trump's tenure, stating that the numbers of illegal immigrants attempting to enter the U.S. were substantially lower, with fewer gotaways, individuals who evade capture after crossing the border. He pointed to a sharp decrease in the average number of gotaways under Trump's policies, arguing that the border had become the most secure it had ever been in U.S. history. Further, Homan underscored the importance of law enforcement in tackling illegal immigration, mentioning the successful arrests and removals of criminal aliens. He noted that under Trump's policies, 70% of those arrested were criminals, including those involved in DUIs, gang activity, and national security threats. This, he claimed, was a stark contrast to the Biden administration, which he accused of allowing illegal immigrants, including criminals, to stay in the U.S. He also expressed concern over the approximately 600,000 criminal aliens currently walking the streets of America and stressed the need to continue enforcing the law and removing individuals with final removal orders. According to Homan, the Biden administration's refusal to prioritize these criminals was a serious issue. The topic of sanctuary cities came up as well. Homan criticized these cities for harboring criminals and preventing ICE from enforcing the law. He argued that the idea of sanctuary cities being safe for communities was a fallacy, claiming that such cities were actually offering protection to individuals who should be deported. Homan dismissed the argument that sanctuary cities were about protecting victims or witnesses of crime, asserting that victims did not want the perpetrators returned to their neighborhoods. In conclusion, Homan emphasized that, under Trump's policies, the U.S. had achieved a level of border security that saved lives every day. While acknowledging that there was still work to be done, particularly with finishing the border wall, he believed that President Trump's approach had significantly reduced illegal crossings and created a safer environment for both U.S. citizens and immigrants alike. Despite the criticisms from the media and political opponents, Homan's message was clear. The Trump administration's immigration policies were successful in securing the border and saving lives.